Remember when we were like, let's just skip Ultimate Girls Trip 3 and just get to Ultimate Girls Trip 3? What were we thinking?
Oh my God. Like with this cast, I don't know why we thought this was going to lag. Like, give it to me again and again and again.
What were we talking about?
No idea.
Stupid. I mean, shame on us.
I'm in love.
I will say that whenever they get to like the Whitney and Heather stuff, I'm like, don't care, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And when they relitigate the Candace, Gizelle, Chris stuff, I'm like, okay, really don't care.
Yeah.
Don't need to hear that again. But it's when you get other people's reactions to it, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. Because none of them have actually seen these seasons air yet. So, which is wild that this was shot so long ago. Because I feel like Potomac was on air for 8 months. Like I feel like we've been watching it since like 2017, this one season. So it's wild to think that they filmed it so long ago, like after the season had wrapped but before the reunion was shot. It was somewhere in there. So it's like they're in this weird limbo of like, I hate you, bitch, but like we're still cordial at this point. Like we can still coexist, cohabitate, like we can do the things. We're just not the best of friends. Now if you would have gotten this exact same season, I don't know.
It's also wild that Whitney and Heather haven't even filmed the reunion yet, so it is like that fresh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into it. But before we do, guys, if you haven't already, rate me 5 stars, review me 5 stars on every platform that you listen. Don't forget about the Patreon. If you're tired of the ads, go over to the Patreon, and for only $3 a month, you get ad-free content, early access to episodes. And if you're watching on YouTube, you know I love you guys. YouTube, the community has grown, and it is so great over there now. Oh my God, I love you guys.
Yay.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, comment, all the things. And now let's get into it. Here at She Speaks Bravo, we believe that Bravo TV is a great form of self-care and therapy. Look at me. I've been using it for over a decade, and I am a complete mess. That's me, by the way. I'm Emily, and I'm your host on this journey.
What is this, honey?
I love that.
If you're not already subscribed, get subscribed and hit that notification bell because I'm releasing new episodes at least 3 times a week.
You fool.
That's my opinion!
I talk Bravo, I talk true crime, and sometimes I talk a little scripted. So whatever you're here for, I hope you enjoy the show. Porsha. Just
My queen.
That's just like all I have to say. Porsha.
My God.
The fact that they open it with her going, is this the one where I look at you and not the camera? She's like, I haven't done this in so long, I forgot where to look.
We've got an entire Atlanta housewife, like a break and an entire housewife season since we've seen her on the show.
It's been a minute.
Oh yeah, well we did get that random, like her own little spinoff.
And I was so mad at her.
I know. I'm one of the people though. I was like, I need a season 2 because this is the messiest shit I've ever seen. And
I needed a season 2 also because I needed her to answer for her behavior. I wanted her season 2 because I wanted her to be held accountable. But I bet she didn't want a season 2.
Right.
I bet she was like, no.
Because her ratings were great, so I'm sure she would have gotten one if she wanted it. But yeah, I'm sure that was kind of we're done. Yeah.
It's like, you guys want too much truth, and I don't want to give you that.
See, this shows you though. People don't give Porsha is like what we refer to as like the black blonde because like sometimes she's so like ditzy in the way that she thinks about stuff. But like I seriously think that Porsha is like Paris Hilton in a way that like a lot smarter than people give her credit for, and like it's a part of her image because she knew that like a season 2 of that show would have been horrible. But when this opportunity popped up, she's like, oh, I'll get to be with Gizelle. I get to kiki and laugh. I get to show these people exactly how funny I am. I can just like wash that shit away. They won't care about me and Simon. This will be the perfect opportunity. And she took it and she is fucking nailing it.
That was what Kate Chastain said about her when she was on Taria's podcast.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
She's like, she is the smartest. Mm-hmm. She knows exactly how to turn it on, turn it off. She has perfected her image.
Yes.
So Porsha acts as the narrator of this, which is brilliant, like introducing us to everybody. Perfect choice. I forgot that Leah and Gizelle did Project Runway together. I completely forgot that Leah was on there. And Gizelle. I only really remembered Luann because Luann was so narcissistic. There was a part in Project Runway. They're on the runway doing like the critiques. And Nina goes to the designer, "Oh, you've made a dress that's fit for a countess." And Luann goes, "Oh, thank you."
God.
You had nothing to do with that, Luann.
Nothing. Oh,
and
God.
You're not a countess. So anyway, but she's like, "Oh, thank you for calling me a countess."
Because people won't let me call myself that anymore, but I'm still going to.
Oh, God, Luann.
Jesus.
There's the Jen Shah of it all. It had Heather had been in New York 5 days prior
Wild.
with Jen.
Wild.
Girl.
Oh, I know I know she was, Heather is such like a fan of all of this that I know she was so excited like for this because she keeps referring to them as like the alphas and the elites and all this kind of stuff, like referring to like the, you know, the Gizelles and the Porshas of it all. And it's so funny that like I know her mentality must have changed after Jen Shah played guilty. She's like, "Oh shit, I'm about to be on this show with Gizelle. I already know I'm about to get grilled for 7 days straight about everything." Not only just that, Whitney's coming too, so they're going to be grilling me about the black eye. You know, she had to have known that like this was not going to be easy for her, and it hasn't been.
The only thing I got to say is Whitney sure as hell made it easier on her because Whitney's looking like a damn fool too.
Yeah.
Whitney, what are you doing? And we'll get to that. We will get to that. Speaking of Whitney, though, why is it everyone could figure out where this villa was except for Whitney? Did they purposely not give Whitney directions, or is she just like it's a guy? Giselle's showing up. Whitney's still like, "Is this the villa? Hello?"
And the people are ignoring her too. They're like, "Girl, get out of here."
Then Alexia shows up. Whitney's still figuring it out. And then there's Candace. Whitney's like at the bottom of the driveway, like, Villa I. Okay, I found it.
I would like not be a happy camper. Like I see this like on other shows all the time when they go to these like fabulous villas and other places, but like it's one of the people you got to like drop them off at the bottom of the hill. They're like, "Okay, you got to trek the rest of the way." It's like, okay, vacation off to a bad start. Like, why am I having to carry 2 suitcases and a carry-on bag up a goddamn hill just to get like, no, hate it.
I am sweaty. I get hot.
Yes.
I don't enjoy that part.
You're talking to the person that's going on an Alaskan cruise in May. So like I if I have to pick on my vacation based on climate, you see what the hell I do. So just saying.
That sounds lovely.
I am so excited. We're like doing like, it sounds so stupid, like out of a Hallmark movie, but like we're doing like dog sledding in one of the cities. Like we're doing what's it called?
Is it with your family?
Yeah, like my entire like dad's side of like all my cousins, and so it's like mostly me and my cousins. We always do like we travel together a lot. So it's like all of my cousins, some from out of town, some in Memphis, and then I have one aunt that's gonna go too, and she's ready to get her drink on and like all of that. So it's gonna be a time.
What I would give to go on one of your family vacations, just to be the one odd person out, just to be like, and to document it, and just like it would be. I mean, I can only imagine.
It's a mess. We got unlimited liquor because they want us to upgrade. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
I just need to see what that is like. I can only imagine what your crazy family is. You're probably all so funny.
Everybody is as funny as the next person. It is ridiculous. That's the reason I love us all together, because I get laughs that I have not like had in so long. It's like, good Lord, this is ridiculous.
I feel like it needs to be like a reality show.
Ooh, I would now if they listen, Bravo or Porsha. I'm like, Porsha, I don't know if this is gonna be on Bravo or Peacock, either one, but y'all just
invite me and I will not. I'll like secretly show up with like a mini film crew. I'm like,
yes,
these are my what? Yeah, that's
exactly.
I'll get my producer friends. I'm like, I'm telling you guys, I got an idea.
Yes,
we got something here. We'll film We'll film the pilot.
Yes, there we go.
I can spot it. Candace arrives and she loves Pepsi, but meanwhile Whitney has to sit at the bottom of the driveway, like not in the bottom, like in the middle. She's like, let me rest before I meet the girls, and just sits in the driveway. And Pepsi's like, Whitney. She's like, hi, hello. Whitney, you're so weird.
Weird AF.
What are you doing? She literally sits down. Pepsi's like, Whitney, you okay? She's like, hello, I'm just taking a break. Whitney has proven that she is definitely the weird chick from Utah.
Yes, already.
She's the weird chick from Utah.
I was a little nervous about them, like them two particularly coming on this trip, because I was like, I don't know how. I'm like, there are some heavyweights on this cast. I don't know how y'all are gonna fit into this.
I don't think they do.
They don't, but like their role is like, it's almost become like this is so mean to say, but they've become like the willing punching bags in a way. And
they are willing.
They're like, oh my God, they're just happy to be there. So they're like, you know what? Punch at me all you want. I'll take it. Let's make a great show. And I kind of love that for us.
Yeah, no, it is odd. They're such fans that they're like, wow, I'm really getting attacked by Gizelle and Porsha right now.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like it's well, speaking of who's not willing, Leah. Okay. Yeah. I did love though that Leah did chat room and Porsha didn't remember. Leah's like, and then I did chat room and Porsha goes, you did?
Whoopsie.
Leah's like, yeah, and you told me I should hook up with Jack Nicholson.
And when she said that, I vividly started remembering the episode too. I was like, oh, that's right, she was on there.
And then Porsha goes, did he DM you?
A mess.
Oh my God.
A mess. Good Lord.
Heather arrives. Heather didn't even put her bag down. And she's like, no. Giselle's like, so what about Jen Shah?
Yeah, let's get into it because
we're not playing this game. We're not. No. You need to tell me right now. That is Gizelle doing her job. That is Giselle's role on every show. It's good to know it's not just the Potomac cast, though. Doesn't that make them feel better?
Right.
Guys, that it's not just you. It's not personal.
She's just nosy.
This is Gizelle.
And that's what we like.
Giselle is the church lady that is up in everybody's business.
Exactly.
You know? So she asks. So Heather tells a story about then she pleads guilty, and after a whole season of her saying she's innocent, and Gizelle goes, but you knew she was lying, right? I couldn't believe she said it like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the woman that said cancer, no cancer. So it just should never shock us anymore, but it always does for some reason.
Heather's like, yes. I mean, well, we've been texting, but we haven't fully had a conversation. Like, But here's what Alexia does it reminded me, oh yeah, you were the wife of a cocaine dealer. She goes, you know what it was? She was facing 30 years, and so you plead down to 13. I'm like, oh, that's right. Your husband has been facing
knows all about
a lot of years and pled down. I forgot about that. That's
Mob Wives Miami. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally forgot. It just rolled right off her tongue. She's like, been there. I know how that goes.
Yep.
Heather goes, she either lied to me 5 minutes before she went in or lied to the judge. I ride for her and I still do. And Gizelle, you still ride for her? She lied to you for a year and a half. I mean, this is why this is why we wanted Ultimate Girls Trip. We wanted this show to be created because we've been saying forever, like, put Erika on Atlanta from Beverly Hills.
Yes.
We wanted like another cast to get their claws in these people. And so here we are. We're getting Gizelle asking Heather, since no one else on the damn cast will.
Because we still, come season 4 of Salt Lake, I don't think we'll have any. I think they're just going to move forward. So I don't know if they're going to actually bring up any of this stuff. So having somebody like her being so keen on focus in on her to get every answer that we all want. I mean, people can say what they want about her. She's going to do her job every time. She's going to get the information, and I want the information.
Yeah, me too. Leah arrives, and Heather, who are you talking to?
My sister came over here. You fine.
What's so funny is because of your backdrop, It looks like you're not talking to anybody.
I know.
You just look like you're like, what?
I know.
Talking to nobody.
I need to take this down in case someone like jumps out at me one day and you can't see who it is. So like I have to like.
That's a good point.
I'm gonna be fumbling with the computer like, oh God, hold on, remove background. God.
I'll be like, some unknown person total. I wonder if there's like a way for like, because that has to have happened before, where they have to like figure out a way to remove it to find the murderer.
Oh, now wait a minute. Copyright trademark. That might be a good Lifetime movie for us to write or something. We can pitch the idea to somebody.
It's
One of these
so
networks
now.
will pick it up. I know.
It's so now, but he had his background thing on, so we couldn't see who it was. We just saw the hand.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Ooh, because like you'll see it'll like break through. Ooh. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's ours. Don't take it.
Copyright.
It's ours.
Yep.
Anywho, Leah arrives, and I really could have swore that Heather like knew Leah before or something, because she gravitates right to Leah, and she's like, "Thank God you're here."
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "I'm going to support you through your sobriety. Don't you worry." I mean, we'll get to that.
Yeesh.
Yeah. And then she's like, they're just nonstop asking me. And Leah's like, oh, about Jen Shah. I feel like you've been manipulated by a narcissist. And I'm like, do you all know each other? It seemed like they
Right.
totally knew each other.
That's kind of what like the genius of this show, because it's so much like blatant. I don't even know if you can call it fourth wall, even though they do break the fourth wall a lot. I don't even know if you can call that fourth wall breaking, because it's almost like people like in the same. It's like different chapters of a sorority, like people coming together, meeting. They're like, "Oh my God, I heard about your chapter. You guys did like this so and so thing." So like, it's like that. Like all these people coming together from like the same sorority, but like different, like at different universities, but they're coming together to like talk some stuff out. So it's like they know each other, but they don't know each other. They have to act like they haven't heard all this stuff on the blogs, like we all did, but we have. So like, let's address it because we're not idiots. We know what the hell's going on. So it's really a weird dynamic, but it's one that works so well for this situation, because had it been like, we're not going to get to the bottom of like Jen Shah, for instance, with Lisa Barlow, with Angie, like we're not going to get to the bottom of it. We're just not. Angie's too close. Lisa is her mortal enemy now, so that'll never happen. It's just all weird. So like you have to have these kind of situations, and
It's true.
yeah.
Pepsi comes in and like talks about the spirit house ritual, but Portia's like, did the spirits stay in their house?
Right.
Did they stay? Because I thought we were the ones that rented this house.
Right.
Her one-liners are next level.
Yes. Perfect.
They were so fucking funny. They were Portia's like, let me pray for some more of this delicious food. And like Candace and Gizelle, they were funny. But of course, along comes Whitney and she's like, I want to pray for our families. Please keep them safe. I'm like, shut up, Whitney.
Right. Jeez.
But then this is where Marysol and Alexia speak Spanish to each other. And I love that they do the like Gizelle translation, where she's paranoid and thinks they're saying some shit about her. And she's like, no Spanish. No Spanish. It makes sense when she explains it later that her daughters make fun of her and like use Spanish to talk shit about her. Because I feel like she would have just been like, are you guys talking about me? Had it not been like a little trigger for her, like a way that her daughters tease her.
Right.
But of course, for Marysol and Alexa, they're like, what a bitch.
Right. It's so funny though, because like it's almost like, I don't want to say karma, because you know I love the mess that Gizelle keeps up. It's almost like the universe giving it right back to her in a way, because it's like she spends so much time like talking about other people, and now she's like on edge because she thinks she's about to be talked about this whole week.
It's
so
so
it's like no.
It's so true.
Love it.
They get their rooms. Their rooms are amazing. Portia's got that prayer room. Well,
almost all of them are.
Almost all of them. And then I love Portia's in her confession. She's like, okay, bravo. I see you with this room. And I love that they left this in. The producer's like, for the last time, this is Peacock. She goes, huh?
That's the best part of it. I keep repeating that huh in her voice the whole time.
No intention of fixing it. She's like, what? I'm not going to remember that.
Like, keep it coming. It's okay.
Leah's room is truly terrible. It is bad.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Not good. And even when she confronts Pepsi about it, when he goes to tell the other like person that works there, he's like, it's that small room, B4. Like they know.
They're well aware. Yeah. They know.
They're like, and I bet they picked Leah because they're like, we couldn't give it to Candace. She'd freak out.
Mm-hmm.
They could have given it to Heather. They should have. Heather wouldn't have been upset. Heather would have been like,
Or
I'm
Whitney,
fine.
I mean, yeah.
Whitney, Heather, but Leah was
We're
not
naming
the
like
one
all
to
the
give
white
it
women.
to.
We're like, give it.
Not
We're
Porsha,
like,
not Gizelle.
Right.
They will freak out on you.
Right.
But definitely
Nope, not her,
Heather,
not her.
Whitney, they could have handled it.
Yep.
The Salt Lake City girls, they would have handled it. But definitely Leah was not the one because Leah has like a personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Leah is not okay.
I'm very actually happy though that they did give it to her because that was like sunshine from episode 1. I'm like, oh, she has a small room. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh.
So Marysol, listen
Yes.
to me, Marysol. I'm confused. Do you not want to live? I don't understand.
Her logic about alcohol is baffling to me.
It's not that it's not that hard to figure out what's wrong with you.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go back to a time in my life that I'm not necessarily super proud of, but there were some party years I've been through. Let me just say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I would not have been confused as to why my stomach hurt when, say, I'd been drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like up for a day.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd been at a party and like, like I just wouldn't be like, I can't figure this out.
Right.
What is this? And then when someone's like, have you had any water? And I say, I don't like water. Well, that's a thing that your body needs, and it's sort of widely known that that we're notoriously like dehydrated as humans. So you don't drink any water? And I thought that was like a bit she was doing.
Right. It's always baffling to me when like fully formed adults, and like she's a fully formed adult. Okay. Like when people say stuff like that, like, oh, I don't really eat vegetables, or I don't really drink water, or so I'm like, how old are you? Like my little niece says that. Like, are you really? You don't drink water? You don't eat vegetables? Like, what do you mean? No, I like Sprite. I like liquor. I like, I'm like, all right. Okay. You got it.
And so she feels so bad, but she doesn't want to drink anything but alcohol. I mean, it was clear to me immediately she had an ulcer. It was clear to me immediately what was wrong. So
you know what sucks? See, like I feel if you saw me like doing all this, I feel like you would come to me, you'd be like, okay, at some point, like it's gotta be like an ulcer, like the drink, like you would like give it to me straight. She doesn't have a friend like that, unfortunately. Alexia is going to encourage every bad habit that she has because she wants the same from Marysol. Marysol never tell her what's wrong. Alexia never tell me what's wrong, and we're okay. We're going to be the best of friends for the rest of our lives. So they're both just perfectly content with being like the wrongest person in the room all the time.
Like, you're going to die, Marysol.
Oh, no.
You got to drink water.
You got to drink water.
You have to. Okay, we'll keep going because it gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
Gizelle goes to Porsha's room. Now, I mean, when I say Gizelle and Porsha together are magic,
comedic gold.
I can't stress that enough. Oh my God. I can't handle it. Okay, so
it's so good.
Porsha goes, why is everyone online saying me and Candace are going to have at it? Because you are. Because you are. Now, Gizelle starts talking about how crazy it is that Heather's still riding for Jen Shah. I would call her up and be like, bitch, why did you lie? Just tell me the truth. I'm your girl. And Porsha is like, she can't tell you the truth. She's like, well, I would keep it. And Portia's like, no, you wouldn't. You're already like, fuck you, bitch. Don't drop the soap. I love that Gizelle cracks up. Gizelle doesn't take it personal. She knows. She knows she's a mess. And she doesn't stop. She's like, Whitney's got the tea and I need the tea. And Portia's like, this is our first lunch. Do we even know these people's last names? And Giselle's like, hold on. It's Heather. And Porsha goes, Heather Graham. And Whitney Houston. Let's go.
Yes.
I was crying tears at these two.
So funny.
I cannot at how funny this was. I just it's too much.
God.
Now, speaking of not funny, they go up and Pepsi's getting her drink orders and Heather is like, let's get Leah drunk. And I was like, wait. Porsha goes, but she doesn't drink. And Heather goes, that's the challenge. What?
Yikes. Okay. Will you give me some background? Because I actually don't. I feel like I've blanked out so much of Leah's life purposely. You know, me and the Roni housewives, we have a thing, okay? Did Leah stop drinking because it had gotten so bad at one point? Or did she just say, I don't want to drink anymore?
Yes. So she came on to Roni having just decided to start drinking again after having been sober for a while, which was like, what? Why'd you do that?
Right.
Then when they came back for season 2, she was sober again because when COVID hit, she's like, I needed to be on my shit. I have to say she was a little vague about it. It wasn't like, I have a problem. I need to be sober. This is life-changing. So there was an element of maybe Heather was mistaking that. But when then Heather started the conversation with Leah when they saw each other and was like, I'm going to support you with your sobriety here. It was like a weird thing to then be like, oh, let's get her drunk.
Very weird. Very, very weird. Especially mentioning that I think you're going to get to that because I don't think that's happened yet. But about, I've read your book.
She says, because then Leah comes and Giselle's like, because Gizelle wants to make sure she's on the right page here. Because she's like, I'm not about to make some chick who's been sober for important reasons, to drink. So Giselle's like, question, if you drink this week, would that be a big deal? And Leah's like, yeah, it would ruin my life. And they're like, okay. And Giselle's right to be like, okay, because Heather's over here being like, let's get her drunk. I was like, tell on her.
Yes.
Tell on her. She deserves to be told on. And Heather's like, well, don't get me in trouble. I'm like, well, you deserve to be in trouble.
You can tell, oh God, it always shocks me that people will have all this stuff with Gizelle and then go right back to telling her all of their business immediately after. And Heather, you've had the benefit of watching Gizelle on TV for 7 years now, and you refer to her as a titan in the housewives, and that this is gonna blow back on you. I love that you forget so quickly because it makes our viewing pleasure so much more enjoyable. But good God,
girl,
how quickly we forget.
What are you doing? and Heather goes, yeah, I mean, I read your book, and that makes Leah go, you read my book, which is all about drug addiction, my addiction.
Right.
So that is even weirder. And yeah, so Heather, you're dumb.
Can we though talk about how of all the housewives that have written books, how far down the list Leah's would be on mine to read?
Oh my God.
That was a choice, Heather. I don't know if you skipped over some or you just read them all, but that's a choice.
I feel like Heather because she was reading Porsha's book, wasn't she? On camera.
Oh, was she? Oh, awkward. Okay.
Yeah,
there we go.
She was reading it and reciting. She was like, "I was a hoe, and now I'm not a hoe." Or she was reading. Yeah, I think it was her book. Yeah, I think it was Porsha's book.
Probably The Pursuit of P or whatever it was called. Pursuit of Me. I don't know.
For the third week in a row, I tossed out an unopened bag of pre-chopped Brussels sprouts, a container of pre-chopped butternut squash, and a little bit of my soul. I just don't like being in a kitchen. This is why I need Factor. I need America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. I need those delicious chef-prepared meals delivered straight to my door. And I need to get it together. It is the end of March, and it is time that we start thinking about looking good for the hot summer months. My sister's wedding is in August, and they've got over at Factor that Calorie Smart plan with meals at around 550 calories or less. And that's what I'm signing up for. If you are like too busy to cook or just hate cooking, and I can cook for the record, I just don't like it. With Factor, you can skip all of that. You can skip the cooking and the chopping and the prepping and the cleaning up. Their meals are never frozen. They're super fresh. And I have tried so many meal delivery services because I've been on a mission to not have to cook food for at least 2 years. And I found Factor's meals to be the best by far in terms of taste and satiation. Is that a word? And I'll tell you why. They're dietitian approved, so they're nutritious. But the dietitian ensures that there's all the ingredients you need to feel full. I discovered Factor when I was keto. That didn't last very long, but that's how I discovered it. So keto is an option. And for my vegan veggie babes, they have that too. There's also Protein Plus. There are 34 meals to pick from each week, so you never get bored. And they have breakfast options. So there's eggs and smoothies plus snacks. You can add on snacks. I love snacks, need snacks. Anything that keeps me from ordering takeout, because takeout is expensive and Factor is like a fraction of that cost. Plus, Factor is ready in 2 minutes, as where delivery can take sometimes over an hour. And I'm embarrassed to admit the amount of times I check that tracker. And for my veggie vegan peeps, like I said, there's a ton of options. And let's say you find one of those vegan veggie meals that sounds delicious and you're like, man, I wish I could add some protein to it. You can. That's an option too. Factor is like the easy, kind of lazy way to eat clean. You just pick your meals. They get delivered to you. They're delicious. You heat them up in 2 minutes. No prep, no mess at the end, and you're done. Head to factormeals.com/SheSpeaks50 and use code SheSpeaks50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code SheSpeaks50 at factormeals.com/SheSpeaks50 to get 50% off your first box. All right, now we're at lunch. Gizelle cannot wait to poke at Whitney and Heather.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, so, I thought that there was an issue with you guys, but you guys seem to be cool. So is there an issue or not? That is so aggressive. She's like, give me a fight or don't.
You're right.
And Whitney says exactly what I knew. She's like, when we started season 3, everyone hated Lisa Barlow. I'm like, I knew it. And there was a plot to take her down. And I don't even give a shit about the story. We've heard it a million times, but everyone's reactions are what's so funny. Because they haven't seen any of the show yet. And they're like, what? Oh my God, what? And Heather's crying now. She's like, I've always been a good friend to Whitney. And when you came on a trip that was not about you and Lisa Barlow, not about you making a moment. And then Whitney interrupts and goes, we're filming a TV show. Girl, what? That was not the thing to say in this group.
Right.
Not to these women who are always on guard with people who are opportunistic and want to just create a moment on camera. They don't like that. And now everybody, so Heather's like, well, then you chose a TV show over me. And now Alexia agrees and Porsha agrees. Now you're on their list. I was like, bad move, Whitney. Real bad fucking move. Especially for Alexia and Porsha. Those two especially.
Yep.
Giselle's like, I don't mind that. That's okay.
Right. She's like, same. Okay.
She's like,
I get
cool.
it.
I get that. Respect. Okay, cool.
Can I say, I feel like I'm like about to get some off my chest right now. I turned against Heather like during Black Eye Gate. But I will say, I was on Heather's side up until then, like with most of the stuff, because I was like, okay, if y'all did have this plot to like, let's say you did have this plot to like take Lisa down, which I 100% believe because y'all hated Lisa, like duh. So like y'all had this plot to take her down. Why would you like not give Heather a heads up and just like expose this like on camera, like blow it all up? So like that's what Heather was mad. Like they can do all this like
Heather
front
was
end
mad
and
about.
yes, they can do all this front end and like, oh no, I never heard, I forgot. Like no, you knew, you just like thought that y'all were gonna do this silently and not be so, I mean, dumb about it, not be so blatant about it. And
Whitney
it's weird.
Messed up. Like, and Whitney does admit, she's like, I got drunk and like in lingerie, outed it. It's like, which to be honest was one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen, because she was so misdirected and no one knew what she was talking about. Like you see her processing it and you're like, what are you processing? You're processing something that's not happening.
Right.
She's like outside talking to Meredith. She's like, no, I see what's happening here. And they're like, no, nothing's happening here. Like,
right.
Nothing's happening. And she goes and she's like, Lisa, I have to tell you. And Lisa and Heather were inside eating dinner. Like they were not talking about anything.
Okay, right.
And she's like, I have to tell you what is being said about you. And then she tells the rumor and Lisa's like, okay, I'm confused. Like she has no idea what's happening. But then Whitney's so confused that she's the one who started the problems, that when later Meredith is like, I'm going to go fix what you did. And she's like, no, I didn't. Oh, did I? Okay, well, yeah, go fix it. She's so
like,
drunk.
Yes, she did. The whole thing that I haven't been saying out loud either, because that I feel, but they addressed it on here. The whole, like, you pushed me into a window thing. Did no one else feel that like Whitney
she was in her face?
Right. I was like, that's like, you're
that made
really
me mad
right
too.
Here.
That made me mad too. It's like, Whitney, you're taking the part out where you kept like getting like, when a drunk person is like so much.
I've pushed a drunk person or two. I mean, you're in my space. It's like, okay, you got to get out of here. Like, get away from me. Go away from me with this, Apollo. Like, you got to get the hell out of my face right now. I can't take this.
Yeah, no, Whitney, you were like a bat out of hell drunk, like out of control, and you were trying to like demonstrate things, but it's like, okay, you're doing too much. All right. So when you say you pushed me into a window, it makes it sound like she walked up to you and just like pushed you into a window.
Right.
And like, that's different than what it was. She pushed, she like got you away from her.
Exactly.
Got you out of her face.
She's making it seem like it was like Teresa like throwing half the table at Marge like last season. Like, no, it was nothing like that.
It's no, not at all. That's not the same.
Right.
They leave Candace to go to dinner because I like that they did that. I like when people are perpetually late, you have to teach them a lesson.
Yes.
I think that I don't like when people do that. So teach them a lesson. So they do.
Side. Yep.
But on the van ride, Leah talks about how Heather, she's like, it's so weird that Heather was like, ooh, I'm going to get you drunk, because she said, how are you going to stay sober here? I'll support you. And they talk about how fame has changed Heather. And Whitney points out that Heather talked about how Porsha has 7 million followers. That's kind of gross.
Right. Like us keeping count of it, like, okay, that's what we do. But like you, her peer, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Like I want to remember Porsha. She has 7 million followers. What?
Right. Really weird.
Gross. They're at dinner. And once again, Marysol, Alexia speak Spanish. And Giselle's like, nuh-uh, we're not doing that. Not doing that. I love how paranoid she is about it. And the translation they keep putting in there, like...
So funny.
Yeah. They think that she's like, Gizelle is so annoying, huh? And they're really just like, I'm going to have a ginger ale. Oh, you're not going to have a cocktail? I cannot believe even Marysol would think about drinking. Like when you're nauseous, like, ugh.
Right. I don't know how her stomach is. Well, I don't know what that ulcer's doing. I don't know what's going on down there, but you gotta figure that out, because it's so weird, like seeing this, because knowing that they filmed the Miami reunion after this, it's so weird, like thinking back to this, because, you know, her whole thing was, and I'm never drunk, you know, you drink more than all of us, Nicole, and like all that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay.
When she said that to Nicole, I forgot about that, dumbass.
Right.
That was so stupid. everyone was like, what?
Right.
No, she doesn't.
No. Mm-mm.
Then Gizelle comes up with the game, who gave the worst and best impressions. And Gizelle says Leah was her best impression.
Weird.
And then Heather was her worst because of the Leah situation. And then Leah gives it to her. She's like, remember when we met and you were like, oh, I'll help you with your sobriety. And of course, Heather's like, I don't even remember that. Same face she gave all season long. And Leah's like, Whitney said you wouldn't remember that.
You know how?
Yeah.
You know the road this is going down that makes me really nervous for Heather? You know who used to do this a lot? When she made that face, it reminded me of when Kyle confronted Lisa Renner about the rumors about, you said my sister was going to die and like all this kind of stuff. And Lisa's like, did I say what? I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is giving fake ass, like, own it energy. Like, I don't like this. Like, Heather, course correct, because Heather could be a great villain in Salt Lake City if she would just put her mind to it. But right now she wants to put
her mind to it.
She's got to you've got to go back and watch like old Kenya seasons. You've got to watch some Gizelle seasons. Like, you've got to watch certain people and like figure out what you want to do, because right now this whole towing the line of I want to be the fan favorite but also want to like give some good stuff.
She's so afraid of not making a mistake.
Right.
It's so freaky. Like, she's so afraid of making a mistake.
You know what my theory is? I think that when Rihanna follows one of them, it's one of the worst things that can happen, because then they get their head either becomes like overly inflated where it's like, oh, you're not fun to watch anymore. Or it's the other thing where it's like, okay, like, I've got someone to impress. Like, I gotta be the one that, she loves, like this kind of stuff. So
you want to be the favorite, the Rihanna favorite.
Because, she followed Heather Gay, like, immediately, like during that season. She's like, oh, I love me some Heather, all this kind of stuff. Andy brought it up at the reunion, and they talk about all the time, like the celebrities that Rihanna follow, like the housewives that Rihanna follows.
The list goes up periodically. Yeah,
it's weird.
Porsha, though, I couldn't tell if this was it wasn't actually, I don't think it was meant to be shade. It just is shade, because she's like, you're definitely a fan, right, to Heather.
That Atlanta housewife shade, yes.
And she's like, no, I'm not. Because Heather's like, yes, I am. Like, she's like, no, because sometimes when you meet someone you're a fan of, you say things that are a little kind of weird. And it's like, she was actually trying to help her out, but it was shady.
But it was shady as hell, yes.
Yeah. And a lot of people end up saying Heather was their worst impression too. And Heather's theory is like, everyone piles on. Everyone's just piling on. I'm like, or you gave them the worst impression.
Right.
Or you came in defending Jen Shah when they didn't understand why. So that's probably why.
That's a weird impression again.
Marysol and Alexia are like, Gizelle, you gave us... First, Marysol's like, the Spanish thing is not cool. But then Gizelle really is very sweet about it. She realizes, she explains why. And she's like, but I do apologize. That was offensive. That's your culture. And she's like, then that is squashed. And I like that. That was done. But then Alexia says, Gizelle, ask a lot of questions. And I feel like it's because you don't like to talk about yourself. And Gizelle goes, just ask. And I'll answer. And Candace goes, but it's a dry ass answer. I have to say, here's the weird thing about Gizelle. This is the hard thing people can't grasp. And it is frustrating, I know. She just isn't that deep. She doesn't get, she doesn't sob. We've seen her cry. She's had moments where she cries.
But it's usually about her daughters. Like, that's it. It's like, they're trying to drag shit out of her that, like.
She just doesn't go there. It's just, right. And that's what's difficult. Like, for Candace does cry and she does feel deeply and she wants Gizelle to have those moments. But that's just not how she is. And so when Candace gets upset that she doesn't give them that, it's like, well, it's just not how she is. Like, I get it, though, because she'll pull it out of other people. Yes. And you're like, that's not fair, because you can't give it back, but she just can't. That's just not who she is.
Can I say, too, that absolutely, I think is right, too. The other thing I think is that Gizelle is always really quick to the draw. Gizelle, I think, knows her role so well that when she gets into a scene, you're not going to get a chance to ask her about herself because she wants to know what the hell she's been reading in the blogs and what she heard on the street and all this kind of stuff. She's like, she goes right in there like having like good like girls chit chat. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, Mia, I saw your Instagram post about this. And so when like then it all focus on Mia. So then, oh, well, Candace, I heard that, Chris, so then focuses on her. So it's almost like her whole cast especially is like always playing defensive around her. That like no one ever really gets the opportunity to be on the offense with Gizelle. Like we've only seen it probably like I think in the history of the show maybe like 3 or 4 times where they've like made her the center of like the interrogation. And so like to me it's like, well shit, it's like if y'all want to know more, you got to be quick to the draw because she's going to play the game. And that's almost why, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say, I'm not going to go there because I was about to jump around on Potomac, but we're talking about Girls Trip. But that's why I feel they have to get better at like being on the offensive with her.
They don't play offense. They only play defense.
It's all weird, but all that to say, you're right about Gizelle.
Now we get to Whitney says that she was scared to meet Candace because of how, and this was bold. She said it right to Candace's face. Mm-hmm. She said, because of how you kind of seemingly shaded or shamed Ashley after she gave birth, the whole wide-bodied comment. Mm-hmm. Porsha comes in and tries to help Candace out, but Candace doesn't know that that's what's happening.
Right.
So she's like, but don't you dare. And Porsha's like, if you let me finish, you'll hear where I'm going with this.
Right.
And so Porsha's trying to say like, I feel like after maybe you started doing your IVF, maybe you were realizing like, I shouldn't have said those things. Mm-hmm. And Candace is like, no, I meant to say those things. I said it to be me.
Yep.
And Porsha's like, okay, never mind. So you're just being fucking mean. And it was like a tense moment. And then they were saved by a cockroach that like made them all jump up and get scared. And I was like, well, they were saved by that moment. Because I was like, and here we go. Here it starts. It started now.
This is why the fandom thought you and Candace would not get along so well. Whoopsie.
There it is. Pepsi, we haven't even addressed Pepsi much. His confessional energy is giving me like, this fool pulls some naughty after hours shit.
Yeah.
Like if you followed around this guy out after he leaves this villa, he does some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Woo.
He's throwing wands in the strip. He's like he feels to me like the party wrangler. He's the guy everyone calls to like have a good time at the after party. Like, oh yeah, Pepsi do some things,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Leah has planned the Elephant Sanctuary Day, which is how, remember the rumors that came out about how Leah had to be asked to leave because she was throwing elephant feces at people?
I do remember. Now that you say, I didn't remember at the time, but like now I do. That just came screaming back to me. Yes.
Now we see where those came from.
Yes.
But Leah, fortunately for everyone, she has PMDD, which is like, I feel like I have this, so I could relate. But there are ways to you go on birth control. You go on some sort of hormone regulator. So the fact that she doesn't have that and just like forces the world to deal with her awful mood swings, I was like, God, well, that's wonderful.
Right.
So she's like, fuck you guys, you're going to have to deal with me. I'm like, well, great, wonderful. Glad you're on this girls trip.
How nice. Exactly. I'm glad I'm forced to be around you for 7 fucking days. How nice for me.
Yeah. We get a little background, though, on Porsha and Candace. I did not realize that Porsha had sided with Monique.
Oh, yeah.
During the fight. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. And like, not just like on social, she did like very actively, like on not shade room,
chat room,
on chat room and stuff like that. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Candace came on there around that time, like during that season. And so she came on chat room. That was like their first time like being face to face. Plus Gizelle was there. So like it was kind of almost like those two versus Porsha in that whole situation. Yeah. Cause you remember back then Gizelle was like versus starkly. Ooh. Yeah. Gizelle was starkly team Candace. She felt like Monique was always in the wrong. She wanted to get her off the show. Like, like all that kind of stuff. And so it was really Porsha being, besties with Monique, because they travel, go on vacation together, all that stuff.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. And so like they were, it was her like basically saying like, you don't feel like you did this and did that, and really kind of provoking her and all that kind of stuff. So her and they like it ended amicably at the time, but it was really just kind of like a butting of heads that whole 30 minutes. So it was yeah.
Oh, okay. So she's like, Candace, like, there might still be some feelings there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Leah and Alexia talk, on the van ride to the sanctuary, and Leah's like, Alexia, you're so open, and they talk about her gay ex-husband, or bisexual maybe, because Alexia's like, he was very in love with me. I do not recall feeling that way from him. I recall feeling they had no chemistry whatsoever, and it was like, he was whatever. I can't litigate that. Not my place. They get to the elephant sanctuary, and I'm like, these women are not going to want to do this at all. Not even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Porsha throws the mud on Gizelle. And Giselle's like, who did that? Who did that? And Porsha's like, why would you all do Gizelle like that? Shit, fucking hilarious.
It's all good. All good.
Then they realize that the mud isn't just mud.
Yeah.
Why would they let them step in that?
I know. How gross.
No, dude. Fuck that. No, you need to let people know that that's what they're stepping in.
Yeah. I'm glad they have like the available like showers right there where you can like wash all that crap off. But like even still, I'm going to feel gross the rest of the day. Like, ugh.
In my toes.
Yeah. No, I know.
Nope. Then they go and they have like a little lunch thing, and they start to talk about the pros and cons of being housewives. And Candace goes, social media. I get attacked on social media, and everyone's like, you kind of provoke it a little bit.
One of my favorite things I found about this show is like, I love that Gizelle like admitted that like Candace is usually only reactionary like in the group settings.
Too.
I love that admission because I don't know what it is on the show, but like I love that she admits that. But then I also love that like Candace gets to hear from other people how she comes across, like not just because when you're around your cast, usually it's like, okay, I know how y'all operate, I don't care about your opinion, y'all got a vendetta, y'all do this, like shut up. But like hearing other people like saying like this is how you come across and all this kind of stuff, it's kind of like, okay, well maybe I need to listen to that. You don't have to, but like maybe I need to listen to that because those are outside perspectives looking in and seeing me going the fuck off on Twitter for no reason. So there's that.
I love Alexia toasts. She was expecting more of like a moment for being like, and we made history coming back after 8 years. No one else really does anything, so she just toasts to herself and Marysol. Everyone's like, okay,
like girl, okay,
okay, thank you so much. Porsha tells a sweet story, though I didn't realize how bad her postpartum depression was and how she had this amazing producer, Joy, who said, you don't have to do anything. We will just be there to tell your story. And then Marysol's amazing story about her mom, how she just showed up to Leah's gala and she was so scared because producers loved her and they were like, we have to have more of her. But she was scared of people making fun of her mom's face. But ended up that everyone loved her and so she was so happy. And then Leah starts to talk and she's already crying. And Porsha goes, now don't start crying. And she tells a story about how her grandmother was dying and she had to go to Ramona's house to film. And she's like, and no one said you can go. No producers, no cast members. No one said you can go.
I just disappeared for a minute because this was one of my, I think my favorite, this is episode 2, right? Yeah, I think this is my favorite moment from episode 2 because the fact that she really tried to have this sympathetic, everyone come cry with me, we are a family like a giant tree moment, and then everyone was in her confessional kind of like, bitch, just like don't film. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or we know these producers, they would never do that to you. Like, I'm glad that everyone else is on production side with this, because like the rest of the world, we like, girl, give it a rest. You did not, no one forced you to be there to film that season. Tinsley got a damn engagement and she left. So like a dying family member, you could have done something. Like, get out of here.
Porsha is like, no one would force me to stay when Gizelle's like, I know these producers. Whitney's like, we have the same producers.
Right.
Bullshit. So not cute. Don't do that. I was having vertigo, panic attacks. I was freaking out at everyone. And then they show a compilation of her being a disaster. And I was like, please, Leah, no. No, just
Violin,
no. Bye. Bye. Not happening.
Girl.
Giselle at one point says something. She's like, people treat us like we're there for their entertainment. And I was like, oh, I hate to say it, but you chose to be on a reality TV show. And like,
yeah.
Like, this is the hardest part. This is why choosing to be on reality TV is such a crazy thing to do, because it's the only thing you are known for is being yourself.
Exactly.
You're not an actor.
And we all have moments, you know, that are horrible all the time that like we can forgive and forget, like with other people. I don't care if you've had 20 straight years of being an amazing person on TV. People are going to remember that one time you flipped the fuck out because you were at your wit's end. And that's what's going to define you. So people that do reality TV, I could never do reality TV ever. But I mean, you are for our entertainment.
I hate to say that. Like,
yeah.
You cannot tell me that you go on reality TV and you're not there for entertainment. That's the only thing you're there for.
Like, I get I if she's coming from it like from another perspective, like the social media of it all, like
and
the whole like attacking,
and that stuff,
then I get that. But if it's just like, you know, me filming this show and it putting it on TV isn't for your entertainment, it's like, do you know what a TV show is for? Like, this isn't National Geographic or I can't even think of smart programming. What's smart? This isn't CNN. Like, I don't watch anything smart. That's
how much trash TV that we watch. I'm like, what other what other channels are there? MSNBC.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this is Bravo.
Another one.
We're entertaining. That's it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's because I was having a conversation with someone else about that because they saw a bunch of Vanderpump Rules people out in the wild. And I was like, oh, did you like go up to them? She's like, yeah, I have no problem going up to those people to get a photo with them because that's what they literally sign up for. As where if I saw like an actor, like a Brad Pitt or something, I wouldn't, because they're actors and they don't need to be harassed when they're eating. As where you wanted to be a reality TV star, all you do is show up to film to be yourself.
Right.
So it's difficult to feel like you aren't there for entertainment. That's why it's so insane that you want to do it.
Right.
So you have to be a little insane to do it.
I'm one of the people that I'm cool with like interviewing people or like, you know, laughing in the DMs or something like that. I don't want to know any reality. Like, I don't want to get a picture with you. Like, I don't do that. I'm like, no, because there's such a fine line, because once you get to know someone
personally,
too well, it's not fun anymore. Because like I know like so many like YouTubers and stuff like that who've been doing it for so long, and they've developed such close relations, like to the point where they go out to dinner with people and all that kind of stuff, and they like there's been like some stuff like on TV where like they will like, you know, talk about it like, look, y'all know I'm not gonna go hard on her, that's my friend and this and that, and it's like I get it, like that makes sense for that point. But it's also like Wendy Williams always says, she's like, nope, those people are over there, I'm over here. I couldn't do this section of Hot Topics unless I kept them at that distance because I need to go the fuck in on y'all. And I'm like, that makes sense too. So I get it from all angles, but it's almost easier to just say hi and bye.
So we get to Candace. So Candace is crying and she is telling her story, and Porsha is like, this is a safe space. We are all the way in Thailand. This is a really safe space. This is a spiritual elephant sanctuary. And it just makes them all laugh because she's so ridiculous.
Right.
Can't with her.
Oh my God.
We find out, though, on the van back to the villa that Candace and Chris are not in a good place. And it's because of that new job. That is still a problem. Their schedules are completely off. I'm telling you, I was a restaurant manager for 10 years. It is the fucking hardest job ever. Once you show up to work, you're there for like 12 to 14 hours.
Yeah.
It's like it's your whole day. You're gone. And you're never off because you're always getting phone calls. There's always a fire at the place. And it's just horrible.
Yep.
Someone, I think, can't remember who asks Marysol. I think it might be Leah asked Marysol if she ever wanted kids. Marysol tells us, okay, I'm not trying to be a dick, but Marysol's story is, she's like, I found out in my late 30s that I had a birth defect in my uterus. You found out in your late 30s. So something tells me you didn't want kids ever.
Why do I feel like she just told us she didn't want to have kids?
I just feel like that's a good thing to say because it keeps people off your back.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, I don't want kids. I never wanted kids.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's not like she's like, I tried for years and years and then finally found out. It's like, no, you found out in your late, girl, you just didn't want kids. And I don't want kids, so that's fine. Like,
Me neither.
I don't, you know what I mean?
Get out of here.
Right?
Yeah.
Bye.
Rich uncle. Okay.
Thank you. So Candace admits, though, that she's like, I'm having a ton of anxiety. And I recently, I think it might have been Sharia, actually, what else is going on, posted something about how anxiety in Black women shows up as irritability. This tracks for Candace. She's super, super irritable on this trip so far. And if she's having a ton of anxiety, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's hard to handle that because, like, when someone's irritable at you, you're like, oh, get away from me.
And it spills over in episode 3 when she finally reveals like how anxious about everything she is. So yeah, because we see it all. We see like a roller coaster of emotions: anxiety, irritability, like ready to fight, like nurturing because she's looking for the tampon for Leah. Like we see it all in this one moment. So yeah.
Yep. Porsha asked Pepsi for KFC. Shamelessly too. She's like, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, like she doesn't, and he gets it.
He gets it.
That man, he says no problem.
Whitney didn't get a drop of it though, and it makes me happy.
I swear.
We'll see.
Heather and Whitney have their little talk when she's like sewing in her weave, and it's more of the same. Heather's like, you just don't, you want to be friends with Lisa Barlow. I'm like, are you serious? Like it's getting really old that you think it's all about Lisa Barlow.
We've
still.
seen
That's kind
it.
of dumb.
Right. The problem is with this is that it's on here now, but like we've seen this whole season and this whole reunion at this point. So it's like, girl, okay, either y'all be friends or not. I really could give two shits, honestly. Just whatever. Who cares?
And now I didn't realize that Heather was going to go with Justin lost his job and now you had to be a housewife. So that's why you did like the most. And I was like, oh, all right, bye.
I actually, you say that made a ton of sense to me because I felt like that was one of the realest things Heather said to Whitney because, you know, they've been masking this whole thing with Lisa and all this kind of stuff. I took Heather saying that was her completely breaking down the fourth wall and being like, bitch, you need to make sure this show is still going to be on air in a couple of years. So you showed your whole ass this season so that people would be talking about it so that we would continue to have jobs because you're the only one bringing in income right now. And when I thought about it like that, I was like, well, I mean, we've seen it before, so I get it. Breadwinner, you're on the show now.
Whitney does say, she says, I was able to move on from that, and I'm assuming that's with Lisa, for the sake of Salt Lake City. I was like, oh. It is true, though. Come on, like, we do need shit to keep going. Like, we can't have you guys always, like, and Heather is so triggered by Lisa Barlow. It's like,
yes.
Heather, it is weird. You do need to move on.
Yeah, they need to just be, if they teamed up and were actually friends, I feel like would eat it up. They would love it.
Yes.
See, what's gonna happen is Mary Cosby's coming back next season, and that's what's gonna bring Whitney and Heather back together, because Mary's gonna just like, they're gonna try to like get close to Mary with something. Mary's like, oh, I haven't forgotten how you motherfuckers were, and she's gonna annihilate one of them, just like, you know, someone's gonna catch a stray, then the other's gonna be like, that's not fair, Mary. You can't talk to people like, you can't do that, something like that, and it's gonna just push them right back together. Mary's gonna be the one.
Mary is going to. You know what I would love? I would love for Mary to turn on Meredith and really fuck Meredith up, because I want to see what Meredith would do. I just want it to like change. I want her to not do what we expect her to do.
Yeah. That I will say, we do rightfully so. We shit on Salt Lake City a lot, like us, the fandom, with their storyline, not story, you know, with the way the season progresses and stuff. I will say every single season, those dynamics change. And that's one thing I really appreciate about them, because it's almost so formulaic on a lot of shows. Like, you know that, like, okay, these two are besties. Those three love each other. They hate each other as groups. It's going to be the same forever. You go into Salt Lake and you never really know who's going to be friends. And that is like the most exciting part about it, if you ask me. The one thing they have going for them.
The one. Okay. They go to dinner. Everyone orders waters. Of course, Marysol orders alcohol because her stomach still hurts. Then Candace gives everyone their ladyboy names.
Yes.
Candace's Petty LaBelle, which I agree was not the right name. That wasn't the name.
No.
Gizelle's would have been Crybaby Candace, Mama Drama Candace, Garbage Can Mouth Candace. Now that was unnecessary.
Funny, but unnecessary.
Gizelle's name is Shanita Man. I'm like, listen. Marysol's is boring. Crystal Ball. She gave one to Alexia too that was kind of boring also.
Yeah.
Heather and Whitney got Snow Right and Snow Wrong. Okay. Leah's was good. Judy-ism.
Yes.
But then Porsha's. This was shade. It was 100% shade. It was bold. I'm not mad at it, because we all need this answer. We've all freaked out when this happened. She said, since it's the word on the street that you took a man, your name is She Take a Man. Oops. Okay, yeah, so that was a lot. Listen to me right now. Preventative care. You need to be using products that prevent damage, that prevent aging. That is why you need Kitsch in your life. Kitsch has all the products that keep you looking young, that keep your hair silky and healthy, that keep your skin healthy and youthful. Let me tell you about it. They started in 2010, female founded, self-funded. They sold hair ties door to door. With that hustle, they are now sold in over 20,000 retail locations. But what made them so amazing is they created revolutionary products. They figured out that regular old hair ties were creating so much damage in the hair. And then they took it and they ran with it. Now they've got satin pillowcases, caps, eye masks, and that is vegan satin, cruelty-free. Hello. They also do shampoo and conditioner bars, bottle-free beauties, so great for the environment. I never even thought of that, but hello. What they're most known for are their heatless satin curling rollers. You can say goodbye to heat damage. There are literally TikTok videos of people tossing out their $600 curling irons for these things. And the amazing thing is they are a fraction of the price, only $18. Kitsch also has those quick dry hair towels and the classic hair ties. I found Kitsch many, many, many years ago when I discovered that pillowcases that come like in your sheet sets can damage the hell out of your hair and cause wrinkles. I've never looked back. And that's when I discovered that hair ties hurt your hair. Kitsch led the way in this revolutionary discovery. Preventative damage. That's all I can say. Once the damage is done, there's no turning back. Right now, Kitsch is offering our listeners 30% off their entire order at mykitsch.com/she speaks. That's right. 30% off anything and everything at mykitsch, spelled mykitsch.com/she speaks. One more time, mykitsch.com/she speaks for 30% off your entire order. Candace starts bringing up her issues with Chris, and she's like, have any of you guys had your relationships negatively impacted by the show? And Porsha then goes, Candace, why don't you tell me the story you think you know about me and Simon? And she tells the story we think we know. Like, we're
Right.
like, we thought you met him through Fallon. And then Porsha tells her story. Which was she was introduced to Fallon and Simon at the same time, even though she knew him already, she says. Then Gizelle fills us in because it turns out that Fallon actually got pregnant by the pool boy and they got a divorce. So Porsha slid into his DMs saying like, oh, you know, good luck getting through it. I'm praying for you guys. I'm like, well, that was a choice. Like, come on now, Porsha. That was a choice.
Right,
yeah. And they start talking, but she goes, you need to email me your divorce papers. But those divorce papers weren't even filed yet. That was the problem. That's what people saw. And they were like, what? And then they, you know, they got engaged within like, what, a month?
A month, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's the story.
Which version are you inclined to believe?
Well, first of all, the fact that she DM'd him, like the divorce, because we all kind of know how production does it, where they're like, okay, you're going to be introduced as Portia's friend,
Right?
And you're not really, and that's fine,
Right.
But you slid into his DMs. Let's face it. Even though she's like, I actually already knew him. You did?
Right.
So she clocked it. She's like, okay. And then I don't feel bad for Fallon because she was clearly cheating.
Yeah.
But you did slide in. At this point, I don't feel like she did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Fair game.
At this point, they're married happily. They've had the big storybook People magazine wedding and all this stuff. So it's her man now. Take him, girl. Congratulations. My whole thing initially was, I'm just gonna word vomit for a second. I remember different like bits and pieces because why do I remember like people saying that Simon and Dennis knew each other previously, like before
a lot of stuff was coming out, right?
Yeah, like I feel like I remember people saying that they were friends at some point first. I don't know if it's because like Dennis owns that like hookah lounge or what it is, but I feel like that played something into it. So I don't know if they met briefly through them or whatever it is. If we're going along with this whole we knew each other previously thing, because a child, okay, girl, whatever the case is, the DM sliding. I feel like if you did that, that hiccup was perfectly timed too, because that hiccup knows about that DM slide. I feel like you slid into the DMs. I get it. You don't know Fallon from any of these other girls they ship in and ship out on this show. I get it. I don't think most of us thought they were the best of friends before this. So like that was easy pill to swallow. They didn't know each other. Plus with the whole like her messing with this guy, getting pregnant by him and all that kind of stuff, it's like, okay, cool beans. Going into the DMs though and being like, oh, that's a little sketchy, because then it's like, okay, girl.
Yeah, just to wish him, I'm praying for you guys.
Right. Like, no, girl, you praying he asked for your number. That's what you're praying for, but you got your wish. God answers blessings. I can't.
And here's the thing. I don't want nobody attacking me. I can't hate her for that.
Me neither. I'm looking for one to slide into, too.
I said the same thing. Like, she was willing to take a whole lot of public scrutiny to still get it.
And, baby, she got it.
I just don't think they have any chemistry whatsoever.
See, this is why we need her back on Atlanta Housewives, because I need to build Give us another Atlanta-based spinoff. Like, if you tell us that Porsha is anchoring another, like, not a Married to Medicine, but like something similar, I would watch that. Give us like, you remember Blood, Sweat, and Heels? Give us that.
No,
Atlanta.
I don't. What was that?
Okay. It was a New York-based show. It had like Melissa Ford, one girl's named Daisy. She ended up dying of cancer. But it was like a cast of like 6 or 7. Micah, oh my God, they were all in. It was coming on like around the same time as Married to Medicine, I think. It lasted like 3 seasons, but it was on Bravo, and they were like these like kind of movers and shakers in New York, all different kind of fields. Melissa Ford, who used to be like a video vixen, she was like all the hip hop videos and stuff, but she had gotten into real estate, and so like she was kind of like the draw of the show, and then like 6 people that she knew, her inner circle. Great little show, but then it just like it kind of like everyone agreed not to do it anymore once Daisy passed after season 3, because it's like it wouldn't feel right. So but that show always had so much potential. So like if you did like a version of that for Atlanta with Porsha and some of those, like I would watch that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because on her show, whenever they would like kiss and stuff, I was like, oh God, it just feels like her dad. But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's willing to do it, and she is loaded.
Yeah. I mean, she's got her own money. Now she doesn't have to spend it because she can spend his money.
Exactly.
Like,
so she can just keep banking her money, banking
Mm-hmm.
her money, banking her money.
Yep.
And so if it doesn't work out, she's got her money.
There you go. There you up and go.
So
I wonder if they signed a prenup. Did they say?
I don't. Oh, good question. Great question. Is that public record?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think marriage license is, but I don't think prenup we can find
I hope
out.
not, because that's too much.
Yeah.
We should.
It's
know
way
that.
too much, but if
we
it was out there,
we
I
would definitely read
Yeah.
it. Are you kidding? We wish it
absolutely.
was.
Oh my God.
We would be all up in that for real.
I would read because I would read Ashley and Michaels and figure out why the hell she didn't get more
What
money.
the fuck did she do wrong? Oh
Ugh.
my! I mean, we thought she was so smart, but damn,
Tricked us.
she should have had a lawyer look over the prenup. She made all the mistakes believing him.
Yep. Ugh.
Bummer. Heather says she would
Cautionary
take a
tale.
man. Heather's like, I'd take a man. I'm like, oh,
All of them did.
Whitney's like, I did take a man. I'm like,
Whoopsie.
Then Heather starts telling her story about, well, I'm sorry, Gizelle asks Alexia about her ex-husband, Herman.
Mhm.
And Leah decides now's a good time to get bored. So
Wet
she's
blanket.
like, I mean, honestly, I'm so bored right now. Oh my God. Can you guys like order shots or something? Like, oh my God. And so like Alexia obviously hears her. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry. We can go back to talking about micro penises. And Marysol's like, yeah, she called your story boring. Now Leah's like, oh my God, that's not true. Don't do that. Sorry you're in a bad mood because your stomach hurts. Don't take it out on me. It's not my fault that you're drinking vodka every morning.
Jeez.
Why did you choose violence tonight?
Right.
What is wrong with you? And then
Dear
they're
Lordy,
like,
Lordy.
okay, what would you like to talk about, Leah? And then she's like, I don't know. It's kind of a snooze fest. Like she's just so that bratty New Yorker chick.
Ugh.
My sister said that she reminds her of Lala, but the New York version.
Mm.
And I kind of see it because Lala would have no problem being like, I hate this. Is so fucking boring. But it's like the New York, like private school, prep school, whatever the hell version of that. And then they're like, okay, well, what do you, Candace goes, okay, well, ask a question. And Porsha goes, well, she doesn't want to know nothing else. So, and then Leah goes, it's kind of true.
God.
Don't do
Get
that.
out of here.
Get out of here. And then,
God.
and then Leah has the audacity to be like, Alexia just kind of like sucks all the air out of the room. No, bitch, that's you.
I mean, that's true, but no, you're the one in this case.
You're
you haven't
the one.
seen Miami, okay?
You're the one, okay?
Yeah.
But Candace is totally co-signing Leah's behavior because that's where Candace is at in her journey. So fine. Meanwhile, Porsha, when they go to the bathroom, Portia's like, by the way, this name game was just to throw shade at me. So I'm like, uh-oh, you are figuring it out. Then Marysol talks to the medic about her stomach issue. And the medic's like, have you been drinking today? And she's like, a little bit. And I'm going to tell you right now, I drink every day, all day long for my entire life. And he's like, yeah, you probably have an ulcer. They do the Lady Boys show. Someone falls. Portia's like, oh, okay.
You know, that's my favorite thing in the world. I love seeing people fall, and I crack up. Can I just tell you, my entire Saturday was gone this weekend because I was at like an all ages track meet. The number of people that failed.
Oh my God,
meet,
Kendrick, you are the worst.
But it wasn't even just like on the track. People that were like coming up the steps too
Kendrick!
fast. Like
Kendrick is the worst. Kendrick is
Can I just tell you one girl?
Worst.
One girl was coming up so fast, she fell and her whole shoe came off. And it took everything in me not to die. I was like, God, you.
So
did not
you
put me
didn't
in the right
laugh?
seat today. I laughed, but I turned my head. I was like, no, I can't let her see it.
So what did she do when did she act
Oh,
cool?
She literally, all she could do was like just kind of turn around, put the shoe back on, tie it up good, and then go continue her journey up the steps because she definitely couldn't do anything else. She didn't make eye contact with anybody around her. She put that shoe back on and kept going. I'm telling you, people falling will never get fun. Will never not be funny to me. It has been my entire life. I don't know what it is.
Kendrick is such a dick
every time.
Kendrick that is like the worst nightmare for people too. Because I know, like, I thankfully don't have a story of falling up those or down because I have a visual of the terror of going to a football game for the first time. I went to the St. Francis football game, first time I was invited. And I was like, oh my God, this is a true nightmare because everyone is looking that way. And here you are at the bottom, like, what if I fall? And I remember holding on for dear life but I still want to look cool because I was in high school. So I was like, be cool, be cool. And we had to go all the way to the top. My knees were shaking. And then to go back down. And then some dumb friend was like, let's go get something to drink. And I was like, what?
Like, no.
Then I have to have something in what? Nope, we're not coming. I'm like, if we go down, we're not coming back up. We will stay down by the bottom thing and we were not sitting back down. So the fact that someone actually fell, like that will be a core memory for that person. That person will remember that forever.
There were a lot of core memories the other day being made.
Falling in public is one of the worst feelings. Like you remember it.
Oh boy.
And then there's Kendrick laughing.
Every time.
There's Kendrick cracking up. That would be a segment on your vacation reality show. That would be a segment. There would be a whole segment.
If any kids are running around this pool on this boat and they are slipping and I'm telling you, I'm not going to be able to handle it. I'm not going to be able to handle it. I'm sorry, I can't. And it's worse when the parents are running behind them trying to catch them and they fall. I can't. Don't do it around me.
Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's so bad. Okay. You're the worst, Kendrick. You're the worst. So someone falls while they're performing and Kendrick died.
I rewound it 3 times, just so y'all know.
Such a dick. You're such a dick.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Speaking of hilarious, Candace's outfit. Okay. It was straight up a shower loofah.
Yes.
It even had little sparkles on it like it was soap suds.
Yeah.
Like they were like little bubbles. Nobody should have been wearing that, especially because she's so tiny. So it just looked like a little. She looked like a little.
Her.
Yes, bad.
Oh boy.
The vocal track cut out at one point. She just kept going, and Gizelle and Porsha were like, you know what? Gizelle goes, I give it a 10 out of 10. She performed in Thailand. You know, she made it happen. And Porsha goes, yeah. She put on the performance of a Thailand.
This show is pure comedy.
All right.
God.
Now the final part of this episode trilogy was the yacht party.
God.
And that was it's true. You can't get them on water without it being insane.
Ever.
Housewives on the water is a lot. It's a lot.
I got my favorite quote from season 1 of Ultimate Girls Trip when they're on that boat, and when Kenya Summermore tells Ramona, trash box singer, when she tells her, I don't know what you've heard about me, but everything you've heard is true. I was like, bitch, bravo. She threw that drink at Ramona, and I'm sorry. Normally, I'm like, okay, too much. But I was like, you know what? If anybody has deserved a drink after all these years, it's Ramona. Give it to her.
It was, Ramona will push you to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I understood. Okay, so they get to the yacht. Okay. Alexia turns around and she's holding that bottle of 1942 like it's hers. Yes. And Giselle's like, I brought that. And Alexia's like, oh, what? She's like, no, I literally brought that from America. Like I brought that. Yes. And she's like, oh, I brought it. I brought some too. What? Like she tried to take credit for it. But
God.
no.
And we know Gizelle, nigga. That's like Giselle's drink of choice. Like Gizelle always pops up places with that bottle of wine. She's like, the bottle of alcohol. She's like, yep, here it is. I got it. I'm bringing this.
Alexia
like
tried
her
it.
gift. Yes.
She tried it. Candace with this hat, though, it's too much on the yacht. It's like it's taking up basically the whole circumference of the yacht. So everyone's like, okay, the hat needs to go. But Pepsi's like, okay, guys, I got you here. I'm going to go back to the villa. And Porsha goes, Leah, did you want to go back with him? Did you? I don't know if you wanted to, And so,
right.
Yeah. And so Candace and Leah have a confessional together.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah's like, yeah, they're just giving low vibrations. The looks they're giving me though are giving me 2000s rave energy. Like teenagers
in this confessional.
Yeah, you got Candace in like the pigtail buns, and they're like in like a purple whatever, and like Leah's got some like metallic-y what. I'm like, they're literally going to a rave in 2002.
I literally remember I text Donnie of I Am the Cute One podcast. I text him when that like confessional popped up, and I sent him a picture. I said, I don't know why, but this is exactly how I expected both of them to be dressed. And I'm like, take that how you will. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'm like, that's exactly what I pictured, because Candace, like day-to-day style, everything. Those confessionals sometimes. Whew. And Leah, I never know what the fuck Leah's doing. Leah dresses like for conversation. Like she dresses so people talk about what she's wearing. So that confessional is everything that I expected it to be.
They're not good for each other. I don't like
No.
I don't like the influence they have on each other. I don't like the influence Leah has on Candace. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it
There we go.
whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They like get situated at a table, and Gizelle checks in with Leah. She's like, Leah, you good? Because, last night was a little strange. And Leah, with her manipulative little ass, she
Forever
goes,
victim.
I actually am glad you just brought that up, because I want to ask Porsha something. When you said, do you want to be here? And also because yesterday, Gizelle, you were like, are you okay being here? And I think you said it because when we were opening up at lunch, I said, I wanted to be honest with you guys. I had feelings about maybe like I didn't want to come. So I thought it was kind of shady for you to then bring up something that I was open about and being vulnerable about that I didn't even want to admit.
Girl.
No. But Porsha doesn't. She goes, hold on, wait, I'm sorry. So wait, Leah, you want to know why she said, do you want to go home? And you want to know why I made a joke about you going home? And Leah goes, no. Well, you just asked that question. You just fucking asked that question. And Porsha goes, well, you've been acting like you want to go home. The way bored. The way she said it. She goes, girl, you are wild. You are wild as hell. And you know what? She needs a black woman to sass the fuck out of her. Leah needs it. Mm-hmm. She thinks she's so big and bad with the Roni housewives.
Yes.
She's not. Because they don't know what to do with her. They're confused by her.
Right.
They're not the... Portia's like, I'm not the one. Okay? Mm-hmm. Don't. And then Gizelle goes, Leah, last night you were saying you're so bored. And why don't you guys get drunk? But then now Leah's like, you know what? That actually has something to do with what Marysol said to me in our text messages. And here are the texts, which was so confusing. I'm like, huh? How did we get here?
Right.
The texts are... I'm saying that I support your sobriety, obviously, and I could never do what you do because I don't have your willpower, and I marvel at what you have done. But on that note, I wish you were still drinking. That's all. Dumb. That is dumb to say to a sober person. It's like, right. Shut up. That is what Marysol would say. Leah replies, aw, thank you. I'm so happy I'm not drinking, LOL. Marysol writes, as long as you feel good and you're happy, that's the ultimate life goal. Okay, well then you're fine. Like, you're fine. Like you're done. We're fine. But then Alexia's like, we live in a real world. You got to be strong about that stuff. She said it was a joke. All right, Alexia, you could shut up. Like you can be quiet. And then Leah goes, oh my God, I thought we were going to have fun on the boat today. Shut the fuck up.
Oh God.
And then Porsha busts her ass. She goes, no, you set shit off and then you back off like, oh, we're here to have fun. Yes, get her, Porsha. Get her. She won't let her off the hook. And I love this. I love it. Because
she's sick of the shit too.
They got her on Roni. Like they would like be like, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you feel that way, Leah. I just want you to be good. I just want you to, because like Rowena just wants things to stop. But Portia's like, I'm not falling for your manipulation.
Right.
And then like Leah starts telling Marysol, like, you can't go 4 hours without a drink. Okay. And Marysol's like, huh? Why are we even talking? I mean, it's true. But like, why are we even talking about this?
This is when they throw up the fight counter, right? Because we have like multiple fights like back to back, I think. Yes.
Round 2. Yeah.
A mess.
And then Leah goes, now that I know everybody hates me. And Porsha goes, oh, now you're the victim? That is so clever, Leah. And then Candace goes, this is bullying. I'm like, Candace.
God.
Candace, you would do that now. You would do that now. So then Leah takes a walk and Candace screams at them to stop because she already apologized for last night. Did she? And I'm not really sure she did. And then Leah comes out and says, you all gave me my period.
God.
That is the most unnecessary shit to say. Like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Okay. Like, you were due to get your period and you got your period. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
So they all like keep arguing, but then Leah's in the hot tub taking dumbass selfies, thinking she's so cool. She's having a camera moment. That's all she's doing. She knows they're arguing, and now she's like, I did that, but I'm going to be up here taking selfies because that's what cool bitches do.
God. That's why your show was canceled.
That's why you're dumb. Oh, God. But now Candace admits to her anxiety, and she feels homesick, and she feels alone. Porsha comes over to comfort her. She goes, you had anxiety about being around people you don't know, but your event was the fucking shadiest. I'm like, okay, so that wasn't maybe the most compassionate thing to say right now.
We could have taken a different route to get there.
We could have gone a different direction here. Okay.
Yeah.
Could have gone a different direction. Okay. And so Candace is shocked. She's like, did you think it was shady? And then she looks at Gizelle. Did you think it was shady? Did it make you uncomfortable? And she's like, yes. I think that was when Candace got defensive. She's like, uh-oh. Like like these two, like the worst two, the worst two. And then Portia's like, I was trying to comfort you because then they start fighting. That's not at all. And so they go back and forth. Then they're fighting. Now Heather's admitting that she's the friend who feeds her sober friends alcohol and would call Dr. Kevorkian if they had cancer. And we are a mess on this boat.
This is a mess.
It is a mess.
I love when Porsha just yells out, "Bitch, I came over here to comfort you, and I'm not arguing with you now." This is so good.
Oh my God. Then they go inside for this like lunch. They play that phrase game, which is super cute. I like this one.
Yeah. That was a great wrap up from like the conversation in episode 1. And now you got, this is like perfect way to do it. Like this is a perfect example of like Gizelle, the housewife that was, in their minds in the wrong. I've seen people on social media have very like heated discussions about this. So like the person acknowledging that they were like in the wrong for this, but then the other two people accepting it and then being like, you know what, this might be a teachable moment. Let's all have fun with this.
Yeah.
Like this is how it should. This is like, we're not going to harp on something for 16 years. We're just going to get the fuck over and we're going to go a different direction. I like
this. And I loved, my favorite one was, no quiero tiki tiki ni taka, which is a gossiper. They're like, Gizelle, that's Gizelle. But then Giselle's like, okay, now that we played that cute game, Whitney and Heather, I'm not sure if this was just you guys being drunk last night, but remember how you pinky promised not to bring up stuff on camera? I'm like, well then.
So messy.
Well then, let's get it going, baby.
Let's get it.
And so Whitney's like, no. We said that we are 50-50 responsible for what happened. And Leah goes, I don't know about that. You were talking a lot of shit about how her name is on like the Mormon records.
Right.
And that was bad. That made no fucking sense too. Like, Whitney, what are you doing?
It's all, you know what? There's an aspect that just creeps me out so much about the whole trying to leave the Mormon church thing. Because
agreed.
When they talk about it and like when I watch like documentaries and stuff, the way it almost seems like you're going to have someone following you with a gun like for the rest of your life in a way. And
very much so, like Scientology.
Yeah, it's just it creeps me out sometimes. So when they get into these deep discussions about it, I'm like, okay, let me fast forward a little bit. I don't want to hear this at all.
But Whitney was like just being a bitch. Like she's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, does she really have like her name on the record or whatever? And so Heather's like, wait, how long have you not identified with the Mormon church? And Whitney's like 15 years. And she's like, and when did you finally get your name actually removed? 6 months ago. Right. And so her thing is like, she's been reluctant. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, that is so fucked up of you to say, like, I'm pretending I'm not really estranged from the Mormon church because I'm not taking my name off this list. Mm-hmm. And Heather's like, I wrote a fucking book that I'm being sued for by the Mormon church. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not in good standing with the Mormon church.
Right.
And Portia's like, now hold on. If you knew that she tried to get her name off the roll, but she can't, like, why would you make it seem like that? And Whitney goes, I was just being shady. And Porsha is like, that is not being shady. That is a fucked up rumor. Like,
yeah.
And then it's not working out. It's not working out. And Whitney goes, I'm just trying to process where Heather and I got to this point. Gizelle goes, how do you not know? You're all together all the time. Like, Giselle's like, they're not falling for this. They're like, Whitney's not firing quick enough for them.
Right.
Now Heather's sobbing. Now Whitney starts crying. Now she starts crying, talking about the abuse. And I felt bad laughing because it feels like a cry off. It feels like now she's like, I'm crying too, but no one really knows what she's talking about because they're like, okay, well, you are shady. And so Portia's comforting
the trauma Olympics.
Yes,
literally.
Portia's comforting Heather over here, and Whitney's like, I needed her to help me with the rumor, and she always supports Jen, and she can't support me. And Heather goes, I have never lied for Jen. Name one lie. The black eye.
Yeah, oh boy.
And I'm like, I forgot about this, that has to be brought up here.
God.
And so Heather goes, I said snitches get stitches, and I don't recall how I got it. And they're like, well, now hold on, we got to switch gears here.
Right.
We got to switch gears here. No, wait, what? And Gizelle goes, the criminal punched her. That's how it went.
Makes sense to me, Gizelle, okay?
Mm-hmm. So now Heather's theories. Overhanging cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, though, makes total sense. Rough housing, got an elbow, and she didn't feel it at the time. I'm like, why are you now? That makes sense to me.
I can't tell you how many times that happened to me, like as a kid. Me and all my damn cousins wrestling in the bed, wanting to be fucking John Cena and Randy Orton and Steve Austin. Like, yeah, it happens. It happens all the time. Like, that would make sense.
And so Whitney's like, so the next morning we meet in the living room and Heather takes her sunglasses off. Heather takes her sunglasses off and it was like, she has scratches all over her. And Porsha just stops her and goes, so what? Why would you drop this bomb and leave out the part where they were all drunk running around? Like, you made it seem like it was Jen, definitely.
Right.
And I was like, that's a good point. She made it seem like we are 100% sure it's Jen. However, she keeps saying snitches get stitches. So she keeps repeatedly saying that.
Right.
So, now it's a fucking war, though. Now, like, you got Heather across the yacht yelling, like, clap like a seal for Gizelle, Whitney. Go ahead, clap like a seal.
Gizelle's like, now why am I in it?
and Whitney, well, because Gizelle wanted to see the picture. Whitney's like holding her phone with the picture, and she's like, I don't know what to do. Do I show it or not? And Marysol's like, don't do it. Don't show the picture. It's just going to be a problem. But now Candace, we have so much going on here. Candace is like, I relate because you know what? Gizelle likes to make up rumors and theories, and that is not true. Gizelle lives to lie. And then she tells them she insinuated that Chris lured her into a dressing room for inappropriate behavior. How does Leah decide that now this is her ammunition for her shit? She goes, and meanwhile, me saying I'm bored at a dinner table is the worst thing she's ever heard. That's not what she fucking said. She just said, own your shit, you dumb fucking. So she goes,
stupid.
She goes inside. And she's like, Gizelle, I'm a little upset. Gizelle's like, okay. She has no idea what's coming, but she's ready. She's like, all right. You just came at me for saying I'm bored at the dinner table. And she just told me that you basically accused her husband of sexual assault.
God.
When you put it like that, that's not what she fucking said. Again,
right.
I mean, has Candace said that on the show? Yes. Has she? Yes. Okay, fine. But you just, okay. So now Candace sits down there and then they talk and I can't do this again. I can't do it. I can't go into it with you guys. This was the downside. This is what we were all kind of worried about.
Yeah.
Is that we would get exhausted from having watched a season of the certain debates and be like, I can't do any more of this, guys.
I feel like this was the best way they could have done it though, because they literally had like a free for all match on this yacht where everyone's like, well, this would happen on my season. No, this would happen on my season. And everyone's just kind of throwing everything in the ring. And it's like, what the hell is about to stick? I was expecting Marysol and Alexia to be like, Larsa had box. I don't know what was going to come out of their mouths. I didn't know what they were going to contribute to this. It was a mess.
And then the ladies just changed the energy. The ladies were like, let's just move on. We're over. And Leah's like, I'm over it. I'm like, bitch, you started it.
Right.
So then they're on the vans. They go home. They're finally off this yacht from hell. And Gizelle is like, Gizelle goes, why not say how you got the black eye? And Marysol goes, she says she doesn't snitch. I'm sorry, Alexia says this. And Marysol goes, well, then you're kind of telling us what happened by saying that. And this is what I've been saying. When you keep saying snitches get stitches, you're telling us Jen did it.
Right.
Right?
That's what I've always felt.
So you're snitching.
You're saying someone hit you. And of that crew, I mean, there's only one of them, indicted by the federal government. So that's who I'm going to go with. I'm just saying.
The episode ends with Candace encouraging Leah to check the fuck out of Gizelle. Like, you need to go check her. You need to go basically tell her everything on your mind. Meanwhile, down with Porsha and Gizelle, they do a little shot with Pepsi. And he does the shot and he like pumps the air and gets wild. And Porsha goes, we can't give you no more shots. And she tells Gizelle, please watch over me. And that's the end of the episode.
I love Pepsi is so good. I love when he comes in there. He's like, "What do you want for breakfast?" And she's like, "I want an omelet. I want mushrooms and all the lemon, all this stuff." She said something with a P, and he's like, "Oh, you want some Pepsi?" And she's like, "No, you're trying to get ate up, ain't you?" I'm like, "Good Lord!" I'm like, all this is gonna do is just like have Pepsi jumping in your suitcase to go back with you at the end of this trip because like he thinks y'all about to get married too. Like,
he thinks he's a housewife. He's like, I am on. He's like, I'm a star. I am a star on the show, honey.
They've done a great job of picking like the concierges on all these shows because I'm like, okay, good people to have in the background for these to give us a little break from the chaos. I like it.
You know, that's a good point because we often, when we watch the trips, when we watch a cast trip on the shows, we often do end up loving whoever the random background people are. And I like that they're like, let's actually give them a role. Like let's give them a moment because they never get one, and let's make it a part of it. If that's going to be the whole premise of the show that we're doing, Ultimate Girls Trip, they're gonna, and he is gonna cuss them out at one point.
Yeah, waiting for that.
I can't wait for that.
God.
Great start. Can't wait. How many episodes are we getting? Do you know? Do we know?
What is it? Usually 7. I think it's usually like 1 for each day that they're gone. So 7 or 8, I think is what we usually get.
Okay. Good to know. Good to
I want
know.
all of them right now.
Well, thank you for joining me, Kendrick.
Of course.
Do you want to tell the people where they can find and follow you?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm loving season 3 of Ultimate Girls Trip. I haven't come to Kiki. I haven't come to Kiki with you in so long, but it's been like a week, I think. But anyway,
because we did Miami. Oh, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no. 2 weeks. Okay, see, that's
2
an eternity.
weeks. See, that's a long time.
That's an eternity. Yeah. You guys, you know where you can find me. You can find me on all of the platforms you listen to Emily, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Google, all of the places, okay? Reality and Comics 2, hosted by me, Kendrick Tucker. Follow me on Instagram at Reality Comics 2. That's TOO. Come for the podcast, stay for the memes.
Love it. All right, guys. Love you. Mean it. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, would you mind leaving me a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you are listening? If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget there's the super thanks option down at the bottom, the little button with the $sign and the heart. And also I'm on buymeacoffee.com/SheSpeaksBravo if you want to buy me a little coffee or 2 or 5. And my Patreon, that is where I'm covering all of the classic Bravo jams. If you want to follow me over there and subscribe, link is in the description. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at She Speaks Bravo. And whoever the guest was for today, all their information is always in the episode description. So if you want to follow them and check them out, check there for the info. And any of the sponsor codes that I mentioned in this episode will also be in the description. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.